Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for coming. I gotta get my coffee first. Hey, I don't get one.
I don't need coffee, obviously. I get out before. I don't usually drink it.
I was
All right, give me a second to get my coffee back.
Nah, she doesn't know what to do. I can tell already if she doesn't know what to do. She just wants cash to show her on the front door. You gotta do your due diligence. You know, I was told her
Okay, everyone. Listen up. We're gonna, Ruth Ann has to go, so I'm gonna go ahead and let her introduce herself. She's one of our sponsors and has been for many years. She's gonna miss the Q&A panel, but I have the gift card that she's donated to someone. So, but anyhow, Ruth Ann's been a great sponsor for us. She's helped a lot of our members over the years, and we're thankful she's here. I'm gonna let her go ahead and tell you what she does, and then she's gonna go.
Thank you for putting up with that. I'm not a very supportive husband, but once in a blue moon, he'll say, honey, this is really important. I need for us to do this. So, I still want to be here to provide the breakfast for you in the morning. So, I'm a lender, a traditional lender in a lot of ways, but I do a lot of untraditional things. And instead of boring you with all those things, just call me, no matter what you need, because whether it's raw land or commercial or whatever it might be, I can handle it for you because we have a sister bank. That's the secret. Having a sister bank. So have a great time today and Merry Christmas to everybody, and thank you for letting me check out early.
All right. Let's get this show on the road. Thank you, everybody. Look at all these smiling faces. Anybody have trouble finding this today? Other than Amy? Chick-fil-A is a good landmark. Who doesn't know Chick-fil-A? So today we're gonna do things a little bit differently. Normally we start off with a little introduction to the new members as well as the first-time guests to kind of give you an orientation to the group. Today we're gonna forego that. For anybody that is a first-time visitor, I'm happy to talk to you offline after the meeting or next week or something, and kind of give you an overview of what the group is all about and how you can benefit and what we can do for you and what the group does and so forth. So, but I'm gonna just skip that today, just so we can get started here. The main goal of today is to have a time to network, build relationships, and just kick back and relax before the Christmas season. So we have our sponsors here. Our sponsors have brought some goodies for you today. As mentioned mentioned in the calendar event, we're gonna do a short Q&A panel with the sponsors. Kind of a get to know the sponsors, especially for those of you that are new, or maybe you haven't been out to a in-person event in a long time. And that way you get to know who they are and what they do and how they can help you in your business. Sponsors is a very important part of this group, and it's a very important part for you because we want you to have a trusted resource of different vendors that you can go to when you need help. Whether it's hard money lending, conventional lending, notes, roofing, whatever it is, third-party servicing. We want you to be able to come to the group first and find somebody that you can trust. A tried and true and tested group of folks, instead of you being the next person on the news reporting that you got ripped off, you made a down payment on a roof replacement and never saw the contractor again. We don't want that to happen to you, okay? It happens all the time. A lot during the holiday season and a lot during the storm season. But it's an ongoing thing. All you have to do is go to the Better Business Bureau and read all the different scams or watch the news, okay? So that's very important to us. Having said that, if you know other companies that are real estate investor friendly and you use them and you trust them, and they, for me, have my grandmother's rule. If you're new to the group, my grandmother's rule is, do you feel comfortable sending your grandmother to that contractor and you still be able to sleep at night after they went and saw grandma? Did they do what they said they would do to take care of your grandmother? That's the kind of people that we need. Will they do what they tell you they'll do when you turn your back on them? That's a real test, right? It's easy to do something, tell you they're gonna do something, do it when you're standing there, but if you turn your back, walk away, are they gonna do it? So that's the kind of sponsors that we have in the group. That's the kind of sponsors we want to continue having in the group. Okay, so it's very important. I want you to remember who they are. They are on our webpage. If you come up here to the resources, right there, all of the group sponsors are listed there. And there is a short video on every one of them on this page. And you can just come here and watch the short video where I ask them a few basic questions about who they are and what they do and what they offer you as members of this group. So go check them out. Remember to go there first before you go anywhere else. I have a lot of contractors and stuff that I've used over the years, so if you don't see what you need there, then call me. I'll be happy to tell you if I have something. Not everybody wants to be involved in the group. Okay, so we can have all the sponsors come up here, and let's go ahead and start off with the Q&A session. We'll just take a few minutes and do that, and then we're going to do a drawing. We're going to do a drawing for each of the sponsors so that they can give away their gift to you. And then I'll do a drawing for some things for me that I'm going to give away. And then we'll get started with that. So let's just get all the sponsors up here. Oh, you can. Okay, so we're going to start with Ethan, and let's just do a quick introduction, your name, companies, and what you do, and then we'll go back to questions after that.
My name is Ethan Stinson. I'm an escrow officer with Simplified Title.
Thank you.
My name's John Beeman. I'm a partner at Kimball Property Management.
Lenny Hudgens, I'm with Odell Roofing.
Amy Sager, I'm with August REI.
Robin Jackson, Bearcat Capital.
Thank you. We have several others that couldn't be here today as well. So I'll open up the floor to questions. Again, just want to do 2 or 3 questions for each company, or I'm going to ask a couple if you don't. So Who's got the first question? Ask it to anybody.
Well, I asked the first question here. The first person that got introduced, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. You said you had escrow services?
I'm an escrow officer with Simplified Title.
Oh,
Garcia, right? Is it Mark Garcia?
Martin Garcia is over there. He is on baby duty right now, but he said he'd be here no later than 10 if you want to ask the attorney some questions.
He's a new daddy. So
Yes.
Martin has been a sponsor with us. Many of you have met him and heard him. He'll give us a legal update once or twice a year in the group and does a really good job at doing that. And Ethan is working with Martin.
He
Okay.
also has a gift card, so I apologize.
He has
He has the gift card.
and your title company can do those unusual transactions like with people who are in foreclosure and stuff like that?
We do, and we do those very well because we're owned by 3 attorneys.
Okay.
What we call them.
So I've been doing deals with Mark for a long time. They're all real estate, investor type deals. So I've yet to have him say, no, he can't close one of my deals. And we've had probate deals, short sales, pre-foreclosures, subject twos with land trust. He's done them all. And that's typically what we do as investors, right? He hasn't got anything that stumped him, so.
So one of the things that makes us different, I always like to talk about differentiating factors when it deals with companies you're doing business with. If Simplified Title can't close the deal, we can take it over to Maglaw, which is Martin Garcia's law firm, and Maglaw can close it. So we can say, this is gonna take, if we go the title route, this will take a while, but we need a legal remedy. Let's close it with Maglaw, and then we can get it done traditionally after that if we need to.
And I think you've done that on a few of mine.
We have.
That accelerates it, especially when you get into like foreclosures and things of that nature, where you only got so much time to get it taken care of.
Right, that definitely accelerates it. If it's a cash deal, then we can accelerate it even more because we don't have to wait on surveys and all these things, appraisals that are taking forever right now.
How quick is something like that on a cash deal?
7 days. We close in a week.
That's great.
Is that the minimum average that you need full title, 7 days?
That's probably, it's gonna take 3 to 4 days for title to come back, 2 or 3 days if they're, 3 to 4 days right now. If it's slow, it's 2 to 3 days, but
That's good.
we say 5 days because we wanna give if there's something hairy on the Schedule C, we wanna give ourselves time to clear it. And the other thing too is, sometimes it's slowed down because you have a lot of affidavits of heirship you have to do. You have to track people down, that way we can completely clear that title and make sure that it's not clouded pre-audit. You actually have full claim to the property.
So I've done several probate deals with Martin, and, it's kind of like lending. I don't want to be the expert, and the same with probate, I know a lot of different things, but I sure don't want to be an expert in probate, because there's a lot to it. So I pick up the phone, call Martin, and say, hey, would you mind talking to my seller about the probate situation and see if they need, exactly what they need, and if they need to do an affidavit of heirship or what? He'll get on the phone and talk to them. So you kind of, he's also a probate attorney. So that's to our benefit as well, right? So he knows what to ask, and he'll say, this is what you need to do. And that just makes that transaction go a lot easier and faster. I don't even want to start telling somebody what they need to do regarding probate. So, any other questions for Ethan?
I have a question, but I do have to say that the paperwork, the legal docs are very clean. Because we get legal docs in where people don't amortize or they have a different year in the docs, match above. And Martin's, their paperwork is very clean. Derek's and Martin's both paperwork is clean, so for us, that's always a win.
Cool.
It's easy to recommend.
Cool. Okay. Next question. Come on, someone's got to ask.
I have one, it's not a question, but I don't, probably every realtor already knows it, but as of January 1st, 2022, whenever a person buys a house this upcoming year, they can immediately file for their homestead, which is a big change. It's super exciting because they don't have to try and remember next January.
Didn't know that.
Can they also file at the same time for their veterans exemption?
Veterans can always be filed immediately.
Okay.
That's always been a.
What's a veteran? I've not heard that.
Reduced tax rates for veterans. If you're over 30%.
Especially if you're a disabled vet.
Disability.
If you're a disabled vet. Yeah, because I have 3 exceptions, a disabled vet, a veteran, and then a disabled person, so my type.
It's only on one house, so unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's just where we
Primary
live.
residence.
Primary residence.
Yeah, right.
For service allowance, it's a big deal for us.
All right, who else? Who's got a question? Okay, let's do it this way. Who's got a tip? Who's got a tip for our members? You did,
That was my.
but you're not done yet. Okay.
Okay, so for someone who's new, can you describe the whole process of going through the escrow process?
Does the entire crowd wanna hear this?
It's the law.
It is a very long process. I have a 3-page checklist that I go through on every file just to make sure I don't miss anything.
Like the investor would bring their contract and there's
Yeah.
their earnest money.
Yep, basically send the contract, send the earnest money, from there, we're gonna pull title. Once title comes back, I'm gonna call you, and I'm gonna tell you, hey, this one's really hairy, or this one's clean, or I'm gonna give you an estimate and tell you what I need to clear title.
Can you send a copy of that?
You get it, once that comes in, you'll get a title commitment, a prelim HUD, you'll get about 7 documents from us in one email. And if I know that you're new, I'm gonna call you and explain every single document and walk you through it.
It is well worth it having been burned by a surprise second showed up on property.
You don't need to worry about every little step he takes.
That's his.
That's his job. You don't want.
Some of the best money you'll ever spend.
Don't need to know that.
The process for y'all is going to be send the contract, send the earnest money, wait about 3 to 5 days, I'm gonna call, you're gonna get an email, and then you're gonna get a phone call from me. And I'm gonna tell you the next steps in your deal. And then after that, we're gonna complete those steps where you don't have to worry about anything. I'm gonna call you, give you a tentative closing date and time, we're gonna set something up, and I'm the actual escrow officer, so I get to choose when and where I close. I closed a deal at 6 a.m. at a Starbucks on yesterday, because they had the fund that afternoon, and it was a lender deal, and so I was like, well, it's a Friday, so close them at 6 a.m. to make sure they get funded. I'm driving to Anna, Texas, Monday morning, so I get to do that kind of thing. So I know y'all, I can meet you at your work site at your lunch. So I have control over every
Is
file.
that
I
a
do.
benefit to us?
It's huge.
So keep that in mind. I mean, there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of support with simplified. Martin's done the same.
Are you using any remote notaries?
I don't trust them. I mean, I'm a control freak. I want to make sure that my deal's closed. My background is just the banking side. I was in banking for 10 years. I was Martin's banker when he first came out of college. That's how we met each other. I had to use a mobile notary in Ohio on a deal, and then I had to use a second mobile notary in Ohio. So I hate mobile notaries, so I'm gonna go close. If you're within 2 hours of me, I'm gonna go close it.
But you can do it if you
I
need.
can do it if I need to. I don't like to for that reason.
Why is it that you don't like the
They miss things. I'm relying on someone else. Like I said, I had that deal in Ohio where it was a doctor, and she missed 2 very important initial years. And so we had to re-coordinate with the doctor. Okay, when are you having surgery again? How tired are you?
They have to know what they're doing and pay.
A lot of them have, I mean, I've
I
had
know.
a mobile go out to a client and they said, this is my first time ever working for a public, they didn't know what any of those papers were. They didn't come back out later because they missed off,
And that could affect funding and, some criticality. Like if it's a pre-foreclosure and you're trying to pay it off or bring it current before the auction, that could kill your deal. So, very important.
We We do have 2 mobile notaries in the area that I trust, one Spanish speaking. That's a huge deal. I won't close those unless Mark will sometimes close those because he speaks Spanish, but yes, I do use mobile notaries. I like to know the mobile notary I'm using. I don't like using, some of these document signing companies because their notaries aren't specialists.
Okay.
One other question for you, sir. Do you do, commercial deals, or are you more on
I was a commercial banker for 4 years, so
So you-
yes, I do, and I can even find you lenders.
oh, well, thank you.
I have a list of about 300 lenders across the nation that specialize in different things that I've worked with, about 30 of them, so you tell me what type of deal you have, I can find you money.
So, another question is, you're using the new truck contracts, right? So you're taking those, as an investor, using a document, you're wanting that new truck contract, right?
Correct.
And you accept it both hard copy and digitally, as in like a DocuSign, or what's your preferred methods for receiving that?
I get most of mine through email.
Through email, where they've been scanned in, or they're digital documents like that?
Both ways.
You don't care.
I don't care as long as it's filled out correctly. If I have any questions on your contract when it hits my inbox, I'm gonna call you.
Okay.
As long as it's legible.
Okay.
And you don't care which contract it is.
I don't care. As long as it's in writing and it's signed and
It's
initialed.
not up to them on what contract you use. That's okay.
Okay.
So do we pay you after the deal closes or is it before?
So I will collect all their fees at closing with the exception of your earnest money, which the earnest money is used if we need to order surveys, if we need to order anything like that per your contract. So look at your contracts carefully. If we need to look at anything like that and order it, it's gonna come out of your earnest money. Everything else is paid at closing.
Even if I give you a $10 earnest money?
Well, I'm hoping,
What's the story?
what's gonna happen then is you're gonna get a phone call from my assistant that says, hey, per contract, we have to order a survey. Here's the estimate of the invoice. If you give me $10 earnest money, what that's gonna do is slow it down. Because we're gonna get the quote from the survey company, and then we're gonna call you back and say, hey, here's the quote, please wire or drop off these funds. And then we're gonna go back to the survey company and be like, okay, now do it.
I was just pulling.
So this is the earnest money that you're offering the seller, is what you're gaining, or is there another set, it's a different account, or different funds
It's the earnest money that sellers bring to the table.
that the sellers bring? So if we start
The
off.
buyers.
The buyers bringing the.
There's the earnest and the option. So the option money goes to the seller. The earnest money is kind of money that you're putting down at the beginning to pay for things per the contract. And if you do violate terms of the contract, then that earnest money can become clouded. And that's where we get into the legal question with Martin, who will be here at 10.
Good pass off. Okay, back to the tips. Lynn.
First of all, how about them boys? No, my tip today is when you're looking at a house, 50% of all houses you buy are in distress and you're gonna need a new roof. I mean, that's just a statistic. 50% of all houses y'all buy are gonna have to have a new roof. Well, call me because I'll go inspect it for you for free. And before you buy it or after you buy it, if you wanna sell it, have me go look at the roof. I can tell you whether it'll pass a home inspection, or I can tell you if it'll pass an insurance inspection, because a home inspection and insurance inspection is 2 different things. Home inspection is just telling you what you need to fix. Insurance comes out, they're gonna say, we're not gonna insure your roof because it needs to be, it's terminated. Home inspection, so I can kind of let you know that it will pass the home inspection, it'll pass an insurance inspection, or no, it won't pass the home inspection, I can do this repair, this repair, this repair, it'll pass, and your roof's good. So I'll tell you whether it's good or bad. Like I say, communication in this industry is real important. And that reminds me of a story. I'm always telling stories, but this is about communication, of knowing what somebody said. This man and wife was discussing what to get the postman for Christmas, and anyway, he got up and left and went to work. Postman comes, and he hands her mail, says, "Oh, sure it's cold out here." She said, "Well, come on inside, have a cup of coffee." He said, "Okay, that'd be great." She said, "Here, made him some bacon and eggs, made him breakfast." And then she left, came back, took the postman back to her bedroom. And I'm thinking, he's thinking, what is this? But anyway, they had a good time in the bedroom. And after she finished, got up and went over and handed him $1. He said, "Wait a minute here, what's going on?" He said, "Make me a great breakfast, you show me a good time, and you give me $1, what's the deal?" He said, "Well, me and my husband was discussing what to get you for Christmas this year." He said, "Screw the postman, give him $1. The breakfast was my idea." That's the story. The communication, there was a communication breakdown there. But I've been in business since '77. I started roofing and as a roofer for Fox and Jacobs Homes back in 1977. Started my business in '82. So I've been in business for almost 40 years and almost 45 roofing. So I know I've been on 1 or 2 roofs. So if you have any questions, call me, and my phone's always open. If you need me to show up on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Monday morning, I make myself available at all times.
What areas do you cover?
Texas.
That works.
If I can make money, I'll go anywhere. I've roofed houses in Lubbock. I had a friend of mine call me and says, "But I know it's a done deal. I don't go out there and look at it." He says, "Insurance company's told to roof." I said, "I'll take my crew to Lubbock and roof one." Gone to San Antonio, Houston. I roofed 2 hotels or 3-story Holiday Inns in Oklahoma City. Did one in Oklahoma and one in Arkansas.
Yeah, wait a couple months, we'll be back, tornado season coming again.
But we do all kind of roofs. We do commercial roofs, we do flats. So if you got any roofing questions, give me a call. I'm a tool for you guys, and I'm free. I'm not free, I'm pretty reasonable.
You're not a
just give me
postman, are you?
Huh?
You're not a postman, are you?
Not a postman. That was my wife who did this story anyway, she said, no.
So Lenny and this crew have been on my houses in my office many a time over the last several years. They just finished up our Burleson house. Many of you have seen that, where I did that property walkthrough a couple months ago. They did the repairs on that. I did not have to replace that roof. So these guys are good. You need to get them out there and get them on your houses to help you with your bids, making your bids on the houses.
And he had me inspect his roof. I told him he didn't need a new roof. That's the deal. I'll tell you if you need a roof or not. I'm honest. I will tell you, it's good, it'll pass, it won't pass, and if you don't believe me, just do it and you'll find out that you're gonna have a problem selling your house. And that's my tip for today, just give me a call.
Okay, who's next?
Robin, I gave my tax tip.
Well, I don't have a tip, I have a question though, Elaine. So if you have, if somebody's bought a house or under contract with a house, and the buyer thinks that they need a new roof, you go out and check it. But can you check, or, I don't know, can somebody check and see if the homeowner, the seller has been paid for that roof? Is there, how many
There's
people know?
no way I can tell, we can go back and ask them, say,
That's good, I mean, that's.
and I've done
there's
it
no
before,
way
I've
to-
gone up there and said, seller, hey, you got hail damage, can you go back to your insurance company? You can go back 2 years, I can get on the computer and I can tell you if there's been a hailstorm, but,
Yeah,
and if they say there's not, then you say, well, you need to put a new roof on here, we're not gonna buy it. Cause that's where I come in, you need to lower your bid by $8,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is. The roof's gonna be the most expensive thing you put on your house. That's the reason you need to really check. Because of all the work, roofing is by far the most expensive thing that needs to be done to a roof or to your house that you buy.
I can kind of answer that. So if you call the insurance and you ask them to run a CLIP report, which stands for comprehensive loss underwriters, blah, 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 they should be able to pull if there's been a claim. And then if there's been a claim and you know it's an old roof, you know that they pocketed that money. So then go back to negotiations.
I guess
Okay, so I knew that could be done, but I didn't know who could do it, so. if
But
there's-
insurance agent.
No, but I mean, the buyer, if they have the homeowner's insurance company, what if that insurance company is State Farm or 2 years ago?
No, any insurance company can
Any
get
insurance
information on
company.
any claim.
That's, okay, that's what I wanted to
So
know.
your
You have a
insurance
buyer's
company is
insurance
fine.
company, probably could run a check. If, say you're with State Farm, they can run a check, say, yeah, there was a claim
Okay. that's
on
what I-
Allstate 2 years ago.
They can tell you how much was paid out, when it was paid out, everything.
Okay.
But every agent has access and their ability to run a report.
Okay.
That's why you want an
Foreclosures.
insurance agent on your power team.
Most foreclosures is houses that are in need of repair. A lot of times they take the money in pocket.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the money you take, insurance company holds out 20%. And until you get the job done, so they just were gone at 20%, took the money they got, and they lost 20%, so they're not gonna pay for the whole roof.
What was the name of the report again?
Good work. Good.
But I will,
LUE.
I will tell you, when I originally approached my State Farm person in Weatherford, who has done ours personally, and I'm like, hey, can you do this for my client? She's like, read on that for the report. But then, after I explained it, she's like, oh, okay, but I do believe it's traditionally known as Clear Report.
Yeah.
Because
It's done all the time.
I tell my buyers during the auction period, call your insurance, not only get a quote, but have them pull a Clear Report, because that's where we have the most negotiation power, especially if that seller pocketed that money.
That's a good idea.
I would
So it's gotta be a real estate agent? I mean,
That runs the
insurance.
No, the insurance.
I can't do it, or you can't, but it's gotta be actually
No.
insurance agent.
My best advice to everyone who's coming from an insurance point is have an insurance agent in your pocket. Someone that you're friends with, someone that you work with, your agent, whatever, that you can call and say, hey, I'm looking at a property. I need to know if the roof has ever been replaced. Can you run a full report? And if they know what they're doing, they should be able to pull that report in 5 minutes. It's so easy.
Farm Bureau does it on every property before they insure. If it's over 10 years old, they won't insure it. That's another thing. Some insurance companies are going to that, because they know if it's 10 years old, it's
It's
more
high
likely ready for a hailstorm, that's gonna be their biggest expense. So if your roof's over 10 years old, Farm Bureau will not insure you until it's got a new roof on it.
Not to get off track with the purpose of what we're doing here, but we need an insurance sponsor, so I thought I had one. That didn't work out.
Right here.
We need an insurance agent sponsor in the group. You know,
I'll get you
we have,
into the program.
we have a, insurance company through our Think Real benefits. And as good as it is most of the time, it's not a face that we have here where we can reach out, talk to, shake hands, that kind of thing. So you have somebody come see.
Yeah, because it's really kind of important, especially when you start talking insurance on a fix and flip. There's time periods where you're gonna insure it one way, and then as you get ready to go for the other, you're gonna have to change the coverage on it. So it really has to be somebody that's gonna be familiar with an investor environment, because each one's different.
Well, you know, we also need an insurance class,
Yes.
because there is so many things. If you just call somebody and say, I need insurance on this investment property, you know, and you don't know what you're asking for, what you need, you could be way overinsured, or you could be way underinsured. So you can look for that. We're gonna plan on getting that class set up in the
You
future.
gotta play off of that,
So,
because there's a difference between an ACV policy and an RCV policy. And they do have RCV policies if you got rentals. A lot of people, they say, well, it's cheaper, well, they take it, but it's only like $10 a month. It's not very much more to get an RCV policy, and what that means is, it's replacement cost. I've gone to a bunch of real estate investors that had the ACV policy. The roof's bad, they had a hailstorm, insurance comes up there and says, well, it's 50%, so we're taking 5,000 off, so you don't get that $5,000. You start 5,000 in the hole, then you're another 2,000 from deductible, so you're 7,000 in a hole for a $10,000 roof, so you're gonna have to come up with at least $5,000.
So let's explain what those acronyms mean. ACV is.
It's actual cash value,
RCV
it's
is
recoverable cash value.
replacement costs. You
Replacement
always
costs.
want replacement costs,
Right.
on anything. If you mess around and get an ACV policy and that roof is not worth anything more than $20, the insurance company is gonna give you nothing If you can
and
swing
it
it,
doesn't cost that much more, does
it
it?
really doesn't,
It
it's
doesn't,
worth a
it's not.
couple bucks extra every
Right.
year.
And so the thing I just learned, because I replaced my roof, ACV, if you had it, you go to the other one, which is the repair cost. When you replace that roof, that's the time to do it, because there is no difference between the costs. Once a roof starts aging, then you get into, they don't wanna switch between the other. So as you replace a roof, you wanna do it right off the bat, from what
Right.
I'm being told. I don't know,
I don't know
that's,
if I understand the question.
when we had our roof done, I had ACV. So I didn't get the money, so I had to come up with it. Thank God I knew somebody that's a roofer and I got it really cheap. But, once I got the new roof, we went to the RCV to get away from the ACV, because at that time, there's no difference between the costs. It's very minimal.
Yeah, you're absolutely.
That's what we
So
tell
you
you.
wanna do it when you replace a roof, you
It's a
wanna get
couple
away
dollars
from.
more,
Yeah,
it's a
you
couple
just
dollars
wanna
more,
do
it's
it.
worth it.
And like I say, you get an insurance agent, that's the main thing they want, is your business. You say, I want a cheap policy, well, they're writing you a cheap policy, if you think, oh, it's only $800 a year. Well, for $820 a year, you can get a replacement cost back.
Right.
That'll save you money, cause in Texas, every 10 years, you're gonna have to replace your roof. I think it's gonna be hit by hail.
Less.
Yeah, so, well, Johnson County, 7 years, it's almost 7 years in Johnson County.
Okay, let's move this on to the next question or tip, because we weren't planning to have an insurance class today. But it's
all
an
good stuff,
important
though.
topic, and we need to get it addressed, and we'll plan a training day for it. All right, who's got the next tip?
I've got one. I would say, I've got a motto, days or dollars, right? I don't know an investor or a owner that doesn't want to sell or lease as fast as possible, but you need to be aware of where you are in your make ready before you go market your home. I've got an owner right now, it's got a brand new duplex, and I've already got one of those sides leased out, and I had a conversation with him, as far as where we were with granite countertops in specific, because some of that stuff's on back order, and it's really out of him and his contractor's hands. So, you really wanna make sure that you are for sure set on where you're at in terms of your final date before you go market your home for rent. Because the rental market right now is insane. I mean, leasing houses like crazy. And if you go lease a house that's not move-in ready, you're financially responsible for putting those people in a hotel. That gets expensive. So, just know where you're at with your make ready, having conversations with your contractor, your property manager, so that way, everything is done in time. There are little loose ends or one thing that can be worked out with your tenants, but not having countertops can be a real big one. So, just something to be aware of. It's happening more and more, I'm seeing, because of some of the setbacks with materials specifically.
Okay, any questions for John on that at all? By the way, John is renting my Burleson house. For those of you that know what I've been doing down in Burleson, he just put my Burleson property on the market yesterday and already has a showing set up to rent it. So hopefully that'll be gone by the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. And I've actually got another.
No pressure, but
I've also got another West DFW REI member who I launched their home out in Weatherford this week. So got a couple of members that had some of their investment properties get launched this week. So
John, what's the name of your company?
Kimball Property Management. Yep, and one big thing about me, guys, and I say this a lot because so many property managers do this. They take on this huge area and they don't have physical presence there. And I've been in this business a long time. You can't effectively manage your client's properties unless you have a physical presence. So for me, my office is at Forest Park in Park Hill, about 2 minutes from here, right by TCU. So, I am real hands-on when it comes to my clients, their properties, and our tenants.
How many people do you have on your company besides you? Is there other people?
I've got myself and a business partner, and combined we manage about 125 properties in Tarrant, Park County.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not this mega property management company. I've come from one of those, and you know, the bottom line is they get so corporate, they get, you know, what happens with a lot of these big companies is they create these egregious fees on your tenants, unbeknown to you.
Right.
You know, and what it is a huge profit center. And what happens is those tenants will, you know, by the time they realize how victimized they've been, they're not gonna stay, right? And retention is a key catalyst in your ROI. So the more that you can scale that tenant, you know, as long as you can retain that tenant for 3 to 5 years and you're raising rents on them every year and you're scaling lease fees, vacancy, and rehab costs year over year, you're making money, you know? If you get a bad property manager, they can do just the opposite in terms of your retention. Just because they're charging your tenants such ridiculous fees on things. I don't do that.
I mean-
I don't mark up maintenance either. I give direct vendor invoicing.
How many people have rentals today? Come on. Okay.
So how will you charge? How is your fee?
I'm sorry?
How will you charge?
A lease fee, a management fee, and a renewal fee. Yep. Yeah, there's no
So
maintenance.
how many percentage, like how will you?
It's based
charge?
on how many doors you have and the rent amount. I'll give you a card, we can get together. If you're interested, I can talk with you about that.
May I change the subject? I have a question for roof guy.
Okay?
The roof guy.
We are struggling with the roof one of our property right now. That the roof guy, we gave him about almost $16,000. And all he do right now is just the roof. And it's supposedly he don't do gutter or anything yet, and he come back to us and tell us that we still owe him money in the roof. It's more than that or whatever. I'm still trying to look into the insurance paperwork and clearly about that. But usually for the about between 3,500 square feet to 4,000 square feet houses, how much does it cost to replace the roof?
Well,
Depends on the
the
size.
size and how
What
it's
type of
steep,
shingle
if it's
you
a
get.
3-tab or a laminate shingle. That's one thing about us, we don't take any money up front. We roof your house and when you finish, you pay us. We don't, that's one thing I've kinda taken all the trust out of roofers, because there are a lot of bad roofers here that come back and charge you and charge you and charge you. Well, I don't,
I like that, because we hand the guy almost $16,000, it's already been 3 months, he not completed the job yet.
well, I just roofed 2 yesterday, they were 100 squares, we did them in 1 day. So, I mean, we do big jobs, we do small jobs, I sent enough guys, we never take more than 2 days to do the roof.
Is it a specialty shingle? Did they have to special order it?
No, the shingle is there, it's just him struggling doing work. He keeps saying that his roof will quick on him and different thing, or can find shoes and different thing. But the shingle is on top of the roof, but what our agreement is, the insurance pay for the roof, gutter, some siding, some window and all those things, and we had everything the insurance gives to us and included, the deductible, 100% to him, but he just only do the roof, nothing else, we still waiting. He just come and pull our gutter, our old gutter, and just track it out and never come back.
This is why, at the beginning of this event, I started our sponsors, and why we want trusted sponsors. We want you to come here and use these folks to do your houses, so that you don't run into this kind of problem.
So we like really stressed out about it for the past 2 months.
How much money did you give him?
We give him like over 15,000.
15,000?
Like more than 15,000. And at first he come and just write, he gave you $15,000. He dragged all our gutter out and took away, not come back until almost 3 months to our room.
No,
We were
that's crazy.
fighting.
I'll give you my card and if you wanna email me the insurance papers, I'll explain them to you and see what money you've got
Thank you.
left and like
Yeah.
how
And
much
also
you
right
took,
now-
if you're into it he's probably kind of put the screws to you.
We are waiting for the second check, but we still complicated because he had to complete his job.
Right.
And he's not completed his job.
Well, the
yet.
second check is your recoverable depreciation. That's an RBC policy. What they do, they usually hold out 20% of the total job until you finish it to make sure you don't pocket the money. So there's 20% of the money you won't get until they get a receipt saying the job's complete and done. And that's the reason they won't send your money to you until he sends us saying he's complete and that's, we apparently can't do it, and that's the reason you're not gonna get your 20%. Send me your insurance paperwork so I can see what I can do to help you and see what the roof costs, and if he's into it too much, and
Why don't the two of you get together afterwards and we'll move on here.
Yeah.
Okay, who else has got a question for anybody on the panel?
I have just one, on leasing in Texas, I was under the impression that you had to be a real estate agent to be able to be a manager of properties, is that true?
No, I mean, there's a lot of self-managing landlords, so I am a licensed realtor. I'm actually working on my broker's license right now, but
Okay.
to be a property manager, I mean, that's kinda like being a painter, you can go buy a can of paint and deem yourself a professional painter.
Do you have to have a license though
As
to
far as being
run a company?
Run a company, absolutely.
Property manager.
Yep. And I've got all of the TREC documents, just as all realtors do. But I think more importantly, I've got the experience. I've been in property management for over 10 years. I've got a property management software called RentVine. It allows for tenant and owner portals, online rent payments, work orders get set up digitally. Yep, so the documents are also real important. I think that gets underlooked most of the time. You go out, most of these self-managing landlords go print a lease off Google. Good luck with that. So, what I use the 18-page TAR, Texas Association of Realtors Lease Agreement, very detailed, but I also use a 4-page tenant policy and procedures agreement. It's proprietary to my company, but it basically gets very magnified into those 18 pages in that TAR lease agreement and what a tenant's responsibilities are due to negligence.
Okay. Robin hasn't said a word.
She
I
asked you a
gave it,
question.
my tip came from her,
Oh, what was it?
the insurance.
Oh, okay. Well, does anybody have a tip or a question for Robin about note buying, note structuring? Robin buys notes,
What
performing,
percentage, what is
non-performing.
the percentage if you were buying a non-performing note versus a performing note?
Percentage of what?
To the,
Discount?
yes.
It all depends, it all depends.
So what are you looking for?
Well, for
Do
non.
you have a checklist?
Basically what I'm looking for a note is, I'm gonna look at it in terms of what's the worst case scenario. In other words, the worst case scenario for me is I end up with the property. I'm not here to hold the deed, I want to be the bank and hold the note. So if you have a note, if you wanna sell a note, because you want your cash now, you don't wanna wait for the next 20, 30 years to get paid, then I'll look at it and I'll say, okay, well, let's see, how is everything documented? Did you go through an RMLO, which is not a deal breaker for me, by the way. For a lot of people it is, but it's not. But what is it about the house if I end up with that house? Am I gonna be able to turn around and either sell it to somebody, to an investor, or am I gonna turn around and be able to sell it to a homeowner with owner financing? So I just wanna know, what am I gonna have to do with this house? So that's my number one criteria.
What do you do with the houses if you end up in a situation where you are not? How do you decide where you're gonna move that property?
Well, I look at it in a couple of ways. First off, the thing is, I don't wanna hold that thing long.
Right,
So my first option is I'll put it out like to this group and say, cause there's so many wholesalers, there's so many, investors. And I'll
Right.
say, you wanna buy this? Here it is. Or, in a lot of cases, I'll sell it to an investor, but I'll carry the paper for the investor.
Okay.
I have, notes out of state that I actually bought as non-performing notes, ended up foreclosing or getting a deed in lieu. And I don't wanna be an out-of-state landlord. So I ended up selling it to an investor in that area who has a bunch of rentals. And so I sold it to him for whatever we consider to be retail price, which is not typically the same retail as maybe a homeowner might pay. But I carry the paper for the investor. So now he's my borrower. And I like that a lot because the borrower, he's got something in it too. And he wants to keep it rented, or he's trying to build a portfolio. So those are that's my number one goal usually, is to sell to an investor and become my borrower.
Robin, out of all the notes you have bought, how many of those have you had to take the house back?
Maybe 10%, not too many.
And of that 10%, did you get screwed on any of those? I mean, was it a
Oh,
bad
there's always,
deal?
I mean, I've had a few where I've just barely broken even, or maybe not broken even. There's been one, I had one big one in another state, and I guarantee you, I spent a lot more money with attorneys fighting the thing, and I just walked away from it. I said, I'm done. Y'all can have it. It's not worth it. You gotta, at some point, you gotta draw a line.
So that's an important part of note buying. You gotta understand the risk, you know, because there's gonna be those properties that could end up being a bad deal for you.
Yeah.
And that's why the due diligence and analysis is so important.
Was that a judicial state or non-judicial state that we walked away from?
Judicial.
Or not?
Um,
Yeah, or either.
Rob,
That's true.
Robin, do you have, investors for your notes? Do you look for investors for your notes, or do you?
I have a few, that are, that I do sell a lot of like partials. So if it's a bigger note, like maybe a $75,000 note, maybe the house is worth 150 or whatever. So I'll buy the note, and then I'll turn around after I've made sure that I've collected, say, 6 months of payments on time. Even if their history's been good, I still wanna have some good history myself. And then I'll turn around to my investor and I'll sell him the next 5 years or 8 years or whatever to him. And then I sit on the back end. So if it's like 12 years left on this note, he's got the next 7 years, and after he's done, I'll either sell him the rest or I take it back and I become the bank again and I just hold it.
So there's a lot of things you can do with buying notes, buying and selling notes. So, okay.
So on your servicing, what do you charge a monthly fee for that, and how do you get the person on the other side to pay? You know, whether it's, if I'm buying subject to, or seller finance.
And the homeowner to pay? Usually they wanna live in the house, so they pay.
Like, if they're selling it to me, if I'm the buyer,
Through the buyer.
would the buyer be the one that traditionally pays, or can you set that?
Traditionally, the buyer pays for our service. It's $20 for a P&I, and it's $35 if it's PITI,
Okay.
which is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So it's escrow and recovery, doing the taxes, the escrow analysis, paying the insurance. When there's a claim, we actually, if it's over 5,000, we pull back and pay the contractors directly into pictures. So we can make sure that it was done and that they know to submit for the remaining 20%. So we help them walk through that and make sure that the claim gets done, so it's not just money that went out the door.
So if you're the one selling to an owner finance buyer and having Amy service it, you're gonna wanna have the buyer paying that $35. You can put it right in the deal, so it's just a part of the transaction, so you're not paying anything, it
So
doesn't
it's
cost
on
you
your own
anything.
finance agenda.
Yeah.
And that's also in the deed of trust under renters' responsibilities, taxes and insurance and loan servicing. A lot of people put it right in there because Texas SML, if it's not in there and they come back and say, hey, it wasn't in my legal docs, you will have to pay back the cost of it to the homeowner. So it's
And-
important to put it in the docs. Mark does in there.
Amy said something very important there. She said PI versus PITI. My recommendation to you is never sell a house just on PI.
Well,
You want PITI, in my opinion.
Dodd-Frank makes it, that if you end up being a certain level of lender, that you are required to carry PITI for the first 60 months or until 20% is paid down on the loan. And I would always recommend you have PITI because
Yeah.
you don't want to be, tax lien will take first precedence.
Yeah.
If something happens to your house and it's, the homeowner's gone and canceled it, we have forced placed insurance, so if it ends up they canceled it, we didn't get notice in that 1 week period between the time they decided, oh, I don't really need insurance, even though it's a violation of their deed of trust. our insurance will go back to the date of closing. We've had 3 claims we paid out on it. Not
The,
me,
the
our
one and
insurance.
only house that I sold principal and interest was the one that bit me. So, I won't do that again.
Well, you know, if I have a note, doesn't matter what state it's in, if I have a note and they're supposed to be paying, if I've got a note and they're responsible for the T&I, and they miss, they don't make a payment, they haven't gotten insurance, I haven't, because I'm on there as a mortgagee. My first thing I do is have my attorney send a letter, or I'll send a letter to them and say, you're in default. You better get your act together, because I'm not gonna waste any time on this. Usually they will, a lot of times it's just oversight, or the husband thought the wife was doing it, whatever, but yeah.
It doesn't pay to be the nice guy and say, oh, I understand, you can pay next week, or,
Yeah.
you know, it's okay if you're 3 weeks late, don't take that approach. Be the dog with a bone, and payments due when the payments due, and you owe it when it's due, and you better pay it when it's due. Because they will take advantage of you. So, okay, are we done with questions, tips?
You should
How
say
about-
hi to Martin, he's getting snacks.
We only need him because he's got the gift card.
They've been waiting for it.
It's just in time for the gift card drawings.
Gift card drawing.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, Ethan's got it.
So we've just been doing the Q&A, Martin.
Okay.
Ethan defended Simplified Title very well, as you might imagine.
Okay, very good. Yeah, his review's coming up, so.
Yeah, he told me that, that's why he wanted me to say that. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next phase here. So now we're gonna do sponsors giveaway items. They all brought you something to give you today. It's a time of year for giving, right? So we're gonna do giveaways. And in this little, everybody should have one of these little paper tags, right? Numbers with your name on it. Except sponsors, they don't get this. Okay, everybody's got one, right? Okay. All right, so go ahead and stand up, Chase. Reach in there and grab a number. Now, the first one is going to be for Simplified Title. Just grab one.
I was just making sure.
Oh, no.
Very good. Very good.
Number 7. Man. Okay. Next one is for John Beeman. Number 5, Peter.
Hi, Peter. Beer money.
This one's for Robin.
What, do you think that's wife money, do you?
Hey, wait a minute, Chase?
Bingo.
Chase, your table? Robin, did you,
Oh, no, are you?
Chase, this for Chase?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, this one's for Amy. Number 13, James. Okay, Lenny's next. Lenny's next.
You got one?
Yeah, but we got 2. There's 3.
Let me pick these better, these fingers work better than this work.
Number 2.
Okay, did we get all the sponsors? We did, didn't we?
I've got more to give
Oh,
away.
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure everybody gets something. I brought 4, 5 gifts.
All right, so we'll pull some more numbers.
What's more numbers?
Stand up.
guys need that one, huh?
All right, man. Number 10? Mia.
Oh, me.
Oh, me? No, Mia.
Wow.
Now it's gonna cost you $25.
Thank you. Well, now you guys are really gonna work on their roof, huh?
Okay, how many more we got?
Got one more gift card, and my last one is I wanna do $250 off the next roof you do.
Ooh, I don't have a number in there.
Frank, 15. Okay, this is the big one,
I
right?
just gotta hang on to this card and show it, and you can ask me for a price first. I don't inflate the price $250. Just ask for the price and then say, oh, I'm the ones that, because I'm not gonna remember who won that.
Number 1. Cool.
All right. Any closing comments, sponsors? Martin, do you want to say anything for you?
Whoever does owner finance, know that January 1st, there's some laws changing for you. I'm not gonna go over them right now because it can take about hours. So, yeah, if you're wrapping, if you're owner financing, new laws effective 1/1/22.
So we need to get you on the schedule for
Absolutely.
Are these state laws or federal
Worst
laws?
laws for you, if you're not licensed, rep RMLO.
Cool.
State laws
All right.
There's a SAFE Act federally, but there's a T-SAFE locally in the state. And those are the ones that are affecting you negatively if you're not licensed.
If you're not licensed, you gotta have an RMLO.
Precisely. In most cases. And guess what? Usually you hear me say, we can pretty much insure most of your transactions as investors. I have pretty liberal underwriters, but most of them are not gonna insure wraps anymore because of these new laws. Yeah.
Okay, so you need you on the schedule for us. All right, go ahead and have a seat, sponsor. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Was that good? All right, we got one more for Ruth Ann, though. She had to leave early, so. No. 12, Victoria. Yeah. Ooh, I'd like this gift card.
So, he gave
Salt
me
grass.
this gift, are you giving him yours?
Absolutely not. That's not the way it's like goes.
Okay,
Sounds
so
good theory.
part of this deal today was to have some fun with the ugly Christmas sweater shirt contest. So who's got Christmas sweaters and shirts? Lenny, you got a shirt. Lisa?
Cowboys country, this is probably the ugliest sweater in town.
It says Steelers on it too, no less. Come on up. Whoever's got Christmas stuff on, come on up here. Shirts, hats. Come on. That's a Christmas shirt.
It's Christmas, it's got snowflakes.
Come on.
There you go.
Wait a minute. Okay, anybody else? No other Christmas? Okay. So, this is gonna be, who's loudest, you know, we gotta cheer for which one is the ugliest, who's gonna win, right? So, we're just gonna go, now you gotta pay attention, because we only get to do this one time. So, you have to, you wanna do a show of hands, you wanna yell? Okay, show of hands. So it's the highest number of hands that wins for the ugliest sweater or shirt, okay?
Not the ugliest person, right?
Not the person. That's just Charlie Wood. Okay, so we're gonna start on that end. Lenny, show of hands for the ugliest
And remember all
shirt
the gifts
and
I
hat.
had.
Okay, I don't see any hands.
Oh, that's
JJ, show of hands for JJ's sweater. She's now, don't vote on the Steelers. Don't vote on the Steelers. It's the Christmas. Okay, how many hands we get for that one? None? One?
No, it was three. It was three, yes.
Three, okay. All right, Lisa. How many hands for Lisa? Does Lisa win? One. All right, 2, 3. Okay, we got 3 there, so we got a tie. Michelle. Cat Christmas shirt. Now Michelle might like the cat part, I don't know. Okay, how many hands for 2?
One behind you as well.
3. Sorry. All right, so Frank.
Gangsta one?
You know what, I'm gonna go for that. You are not.
No doubt. Okay, Frank wins and all right, so have we given enough stuff away yet?
The freak.
You want more? We can see. You want more? That's why I was telling Michelle. Let me squeak. Jay doesn't think it's virtual.
Yeah, I thought it was working, but I flew in 2 days ago.
I guess she's got the longest travel to the country to the meeting with.
Phoenix, Arizona.
All right, so it's the time of the year for giving, right? Anybody want what's in this box?
Yes.
Did anybody snoop?
It's your taxes, no.
Did anybody look in my box?
I can defuse it if necessary, so.
Use defuse.
So I've got a whole bunch of stuff here. How many people saw my garage sale ad last week or 2? I think it was last weekend. I was trying to do an investor's garage sale. Not only did I have a bunch of leftover rehab stuff, I was trying to clean up my office, but I have an entire wall, probably about from here to that wall of cabinets full of educational material. Real estate investment education. So I was trying to sell that stuff, but in the meantime, I decided I want to give away a bunch of that stuff. Does that work for everybody? Okay. So we have a few numbers left. So I think I have enough stuff for everybody to win something. Does that work? All right, who likes Ron LeGrand and short sale price stuff? Who does short sales? Anybody? Nobody? Does anybody know what it is? Nobody interested in short sales? Okay, well, we're still going to do the drawing. So what I have here is, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars over the years on educational stuff, and this was one of them. This is actually 2 different courses, but I'm putting them together. There's a short sale service and Ron teaching with the short sale service. And these are books and CDs. Keep in mind that, some of this stuff, like the short sale service company that they talk about here is no longer in business. This is several years ago. But the content they teach is still valid. Okay? So there's thousands of dollars here in this material. So we're going to do a drawing, and hopefully somebody's going to go learn how to do short sales. Lisa?
Which one?
Number 4. Okay? I have a Ron LeGrand Quick Start Real Estate School Event Manual. Ron does these events numerous times a year. There's no CDs in this, but there's a lot. There's a lot of content here. Anybody know who Ron is?
Yes.
Is he good or what?
Yes.
So he's the guy I got started with 21 years ago. He's the guy that got me hooked on subject to deals. And he told me in the very first class I went to, if you don't write a check, you can't lose money. Does that make sense to people?
learn how to structure a deal with no or very little money, then you can't lose money in the deal, or you're at very low risk. That's the kind of stuff he teaches in this. So we're gonna, no pressure. You already got it. Oh, you haven't?
And that would be me.
Vote yourself.
Event planner. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I got something to go back and break up.
By the way, you can go horse trade any of these things that you win today. Okay, so this one's a little different. This one is not real estate investment. This is personal development. Anybody ever heard of T. Harv Eker?
Oh, yeah.
The Millionaire Mindset? Okay, this is, I don't know, remember if I bought these two together, but these things are full of CDs. Okay, this is another one of those that's several $1,000s. Okay, Robert, you get this
First one with steps. Motion for three. Oh, no, it's a badge, it's a ripped badge.
one. Number 8, Regina. Hey! You said I want to put your name back on. Congratulations. Okay, we have 4 or 5 more to go. No, can't get my hat away.
You bring your Carlton Sheets book?
Actually, I didn't.
I actually have an unopened set of that.
I have,
Believe it or not.
a video, a whole
30 years
package
ago,
of
right?
'Yes, on VHS
videos.
tape.
Or VCR. Okay, so this one is with a guy by the name of Russ Dalby. Anybody heard of Russ? And this is winning in the cash flow business, and there's a couple others that go with it, First Steps in Success and several others. So there's quite a few pieces for this one as well. So we're gonna go ahead and do this one next. Okay, number 3, Mitchell. You're welcome. Congratulations. Okay. This is a book, How to Buy and Manage Rental Properties. Frank, you get the pick.
You want to recreate that? Can you put it in feel slim?
You gotta get your khakis first.
Number 17, Brittany.
I'll get the penny loaf and you get your khakis.
Well, the odds are pretty good.
Pleated or not pleated?
All right, so now
Pleated. That's gonna go all the way.
I've got a bunch of CDs and some other book material. So we're down to using private money. And this is by Chris Krishner. Chris was sharp. He was coming up under Ron McGran and really sharp. Ted Thomas, many of you may know him. He's been around forever. Does a lot of tax deed, tax lien stuff, pre-foreclosure stuff. But there's numerous CDs in here for him. So let's see who's going to get lucky here. Number 6, Jeremy. Cool. You got some good stuff there, Jeremy. All right, we're down to 2 left. What do we want? We want newsletter, book kind of stuff. We want CDs. That wasn't on the table.
That was smooth.
That was slick, wasn't it? That was slick. So I'm not even gonna tell you what's in here, but look at all this stuff, okay? Now I will. So Marketing Mastery Training Calls by Richard Group and Dan Duran. Anybody know them? Huh? Anybody? Wow, they are sharp. They are one of the best. The strategies, I used to subscribe to a monthly set of CDs from them. So I have tons of this stuff. And there's some Ron DeGrand stuff in here. There's some forms, some real estate investment forms. There's some, how about Dan Kennedy? Anybody know Dan Kennedy? Marketing. He is a genius at marketing. I happen to not like his attitude, but the guy is, he is good. So anyhow, there's a lot of stuff right here. So this one, I'm gonna give, this is gonna be a big one. This might even be worth more than all that other stuff that I've already given out in those courses, because there's so much good content here. We're down to 2 tickets. Can I pick them? Yes, I can.
Oh, you know,
Go for it.
14. Joe. There's your membership, girl. Okay, and then the last one, we know who the last one is, since she's back there raising her hand. Save the best for last, right? I have.
Easy now. She's gonna come up there.
So I have so much stuff here, JJ. I'm just gonna give you the entire
Good on,
farm.
JJ.
You bring a truck?
Well, I'm in Texas now, I guess I need to get one.
You do.
Alright. Oh, Mr. Landlord.
Look at all that stuff. So there's Mr. Langmore, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and my box is empty. So there is, but there's so much stuff left. If there's any types of courses you're interested in buying and studying, I have tons of it in my office. So you can reach out to me if you have any interest in that. So that really concludes the planned stuff. The rest of the day is all about networking. Go out, shake hands. In the past we've formalized the networking piece where we lined up chairs and tables and we rotate around and give everybody 2 minutes to shake hands and do your elevator speech to everybody. But that's hard when we have a space like this. So I'm just gonna leave it up to you to make it your goal to meet everyone in this room before you leave and shake hands, exchange business cards, and give everybody your elevator pitch on what you do, what you need help with, okay? If you don't have a business card, you need to get one, but in the meantime, get a piece of paper, write it down, exchange text on your phones or something so that you can connect, okay? 2022 is I believe it's gonna be a good year for everybody, but this is a team sport, right? This is not a sport that you can do by yourself. You need your power team, you need the sponsors that you heard from today. You need them to help you through the deals and answer your questions, especially for those of you that are new. But you need the title companies and the insurance companies and the roofers and all the others. I didn't go through the presentation, but again, I wanna just mention, we need more sponsors. You are using contractors out there that you love in your business and you recommend them. We need them in this group. We need them to come support all the members, and we need them as a resource for everybody in the group. So we want good people in here. We don't want to hear more stories like Mia was telling you, where the contractor took her $16,000 for the roof, and 3 months later, they're still not done. Okay? They've lost some sleep overnight, right? So it's stressful. We don't want you to go through that. That's a lot of money.
Well, that reminds me, there's been several stories in the last 2 or 3 years, from somebody like that. I keep calling Channel 4 or one of those stations that does those investigative things. If nothing else, you'll probably never find him again, but at least get it out there so somebody else can get taken.
That's right.
Because they will call, they will contact you, and they'll follow up on it. They're pretty good about that.
Yeah, NBC5I does that too.
Yeah, they'll send I think all the other stations do that.
Oh, and the Channel 4.
Yeah, there used to be a woman named Betsy something, or Betty.
And also we had get ripped off, we get scammed by the, home warranty called Total Home Protect, and they change their name to a, service plans. We pay them $1,000, and when we need to call the service, we pay them more money, and then, but they never agree to fix anything, and then, our dryer over $1,000, they agree to give us $250 to replace it, but it's only a year, they never pay us, no payday. So, we can get it off a lot, because we still new, on everything. So the whole, but like American Home Shield is very good. I do American Home Shield 5-star. So I think I'm gonna go to the news that you're talking about the what's the Total Home Protect or called the home warranty. They changed the name to what's it called? The name?
Total home.
But it changed the name. Service plans. Don't ever, because they took out the $1,000
Yeah.
and never refused to do everything.
So there's a lot to be said for coming to the group like this. I mean, you need to be a part of this family and go to people that have used people that can refer people that they've dealt with before. There's so many internet scams and email scams today. You'd be amazed at how much crap I get every day, and I go click, delete, block, both on my phone and email. So you can't accept that stuff. Come to a group like this and ask questions. Go to our Facebook group and ask for recommendations. When you're a member of this group, you can join our private group and go ask questions. Robin has used it quite a few times. I posted a question the other day looking for an insulation company. But that's one of the benefits of being a member of the group and using those communication channels, because you're talking to other investors that have used these people. So
One
keep
thing
that
I
in
want to
mind.
tell you, one of the most honest and the best home warranty I know is American Home Shield.
That's one.
Those are good, they treat us very good.
We use them twice.
American
Okay.
Home Shield.
So, the boss has spoken. You have to go eat all the goodies in the kitchen. There's a ton of stuff in there. Please go participate in that. But again, go meet everybody, shake hands, exchange business cards, see how you can help one another. And as we've been telling you in the past, please go to our Google page and give us a review if you'd like to see it here.
Section 8 housing.
Okay? And I'll bring that page up. Cool.
You got a card? Yeah, I do. I actually have somebody that needs your services. So
Give me a call.
I will definitely do that. Thank you.
James, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Have a good weekend.
Okay, you too.
So with Section 8, we have to have a refrigerator, which is not a big deal. Well, here's the problem. You got two 16-year-olds. One 16-year-old. Absolutely do.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Nice to meet you. I'm John.
I'm Michelle. I didn't see you in the car.
I'm Mitch.
Guess I'll come over and meet everybody.
I'm John.
I'm JJ.
I guess you need to stay standing, right? Please.
So I underestimated the traffic, so I missed what everybody does. I've been listening to so many of the online videos.
Yeah.
Just trying to get to know who everybody is. I heard you talking about property management. It's like,
Yep.